Capricorn, if 2026 is an update, you're not updating like changing the wallpaper for fun. You're updating like changing how you run from the inside, changing the core. And Capricorn's core, let me say it straight, runs like an operating system powered by discipline, stable, durable high load capacity, and the moment pressure hits, you automatically lock in, tighten up, and get it done. It sounds cool. And it is cool. But this OS has a built-in bug. It makes you used to bracing, used to suffering in silence, used to proving yourself through action. You do so much that other people can't. You keep your word. You last. You're reliable. But you also easily turn yourself into a 24/7 pillar, like you always have to be okay, always have to be strong, always have to keep everything under control. And 2026 is coming to tell you something very clearly. You're still strong, but you don't need to brace the old way anymore. Because 2026 isn't the year that forces you to run faster. 2026 is the year that forces you to run smarter. In Hangzhou and Taiwan, what does running smarter mean? It means you start reviewing what's been running you. Some days you grind for the goal, but some days you grind because you're scared. Scared of being judged, scared you're not enough, scared of losing control, scared of disappointing people. Capricorn often carries a fear that's very clean, but very persistent. I have to do well to be worthy. I have to carry things to be recognized. I have to be okay so everyone else can feel safe. But that's the old belief. And 2026 is the year you start upgrading that belief into a more grown version. I'm worthy even when I rest, even when I slow down, even when I don't carry everything. I'm worthy because I'm me, not because of how many things I can get done in a day. Capricorn's new 2026 OS will have one critical line of code. Inner strength isn't being hard all the time. Inner strength is knowing when to be hard and when to be soft. Knowing when to push and when to hold. Knowing when to stand firm and when to loosen your grip so you can breathe. And yeah, it sounds a little soft compared to Capricorn's vibe, but it's exactly what helps you go far. Because 2026 doesn't just give you chances to level up your career or money. It gives you a harder question. What kind of success do you want? Success that burns you out, or success that still leaves you alive? Success with an empty emotional tank, or success where you still feel like you're actually living? One really good thing about 2026 is this. You'll have moments where you switch on, like you suddenly see the road. Not a temporary hype moment, more like a clear, practical, very Capricorn kind of clarity. And there are two dates I want you to remember as two opening buttons for the new OS, January 18 and January 20. This is the kind of energy that gives you discipline and creativity, steady hands and the courage to innovate. Meaning, you can sit down, look at your entire way of living, and cut a new path without being scared. It's like you're holding the blueprint of your life, and you dare to edit the structure, dare to change how you build. January 18th carries the vibe of discipline and creativity. It's perfect for you to lock in a new plan, a new goal, or a new habit you know will change the whole year. But the most important thing isn't what goal you set. The important thing is how you set it. By the new OS, a goal that doesn't come with self-punishment. A goal that comes with rhythm. You're no longer like, I have to do it no matter what, even if I'm running on empty. You shift into, I do it steadily, I do it sustainably, and I don't trade my health for achievement. January 20 carries the vibe of communication and innovation. It's perfect for saying what you need, saying what you want, saying your boundaries, saying your standards. Capricorn often doesn't lack ability, you lack one thing, stating it clearly. You think doing well is enough. But 2026 will teach you, doing well is the foundation, saying it clearly is the key that opens doors. Saying it clearly so people understand your value. Saying it clearly so you don't get pulled into things that aren't yours. Saying it clearly so you don't have to brace in silence. You can treat those 2 days like two update windows. One window updates how you operate. One window updates how you communicate with the world. And if you know how to use them, your whole year will change. Capricorn's 2026 OS will also add a new feature, prioritizing the right thing. Capricorn tends to prioritize in a very reasonable way, important work first, responsibility first, goals first. But what you need to learn is a deeper kind of priority. What feeds you versus what drains you. Some things look correct, stable, safe from the outside, but inside you, they slowly make you go numb. They take your spark, your feeling, your softness, and you'll start being unable to tolerate that anymore. In 2026, you'll hear one question repeating in your head, like it won't let you ignore it. What am I trying to prove, and is it worth it? Some things you do not, because you want to, but because you're afraid people will think you're not enough. Some relationships you keep not because you're happy, but because you're afraid of change. Some standards you attach to yourself not because they're right, but because you're used to being expected. The new OS is when you dare to uninstall those things. And uninstalling them isn't so you become lazy or careless. You uninstall them so you become lighter. You still work, still move forward, still build big things, but you stop turning yourself into a machine. I want you to notice something. Capricorn usually only allows themselves to rest when everything is finished. But life is never fully finished. So the new 2026 OS needs a new rule. Rest by schedule, not by condition. Meaning, even when it isn't done yet, you still rest, because you need battery to keep going. It sounds simple, but for Capricorn, it's a small revolution. Because you're used to living like finish first, then breathe, 2026 teaches you to breathe first so you can finish. And here's the most important part of this OS chunk. You have to change how you define strength. Your old strength was endurance. Your new strength is self-care. Caring for your body, your sleep, your rhythm, your emotions. Not the pink, fluffy kind of care. Capricorn care, practical, structured, disciplined. You'll see that when you sleep better, you decide better. When you move consistently, you hold less tension. When you say your needs, you feel less alone. When you set boundaries, you feel less tired. So now I'm giving you a mini exercise, very short, but it will shape your new OS all year. Answer one question, honestly with yourself. If in 2026 you're only allowed to prioritize one thing first, what do you prioritize? Career, money, love, health, or peace inside your head? Pick one. Just one. Don't pick everything. A Capricorn who picks everything is making it hard for themselves. Pick one as your core setting. Because that core setting decides how you make decisions. What work you take, what work you refuse. What relationships you stay in, what relationships you leave. How you keep your rhythm. And once you have a core setting, everything else falls into place. And one more exercise, like debugging the OS. Think back over the last 30 days. Was there a moment you were tired, but still forced yourself? A moment you were sad, but still pretended you were fine? A moment you wanted to say no, but you said, "Ach," instead. Just pick one moment. Then ask, if it's the new OS, how would I handle it differently? Would I rest earlier? Would I say it more clearly? Would I set a boundary? That's it. Your new OS doesn't come from hearing this and suddenly being motivated. The new OS comes from small choices, repeated every day. And I'll close chunk one with one sentence. Very Capricorn, but also very warm. You don't need to be the pillar for the whole world. You only need to be the pillar for yourself first. When you're solid with room to breathe, you'll still build something big, without losing yourself. Okay, in chunk 2, I'm taking you into the hard turn system. Meaning, from the new OS, I'll show you how to hard turn your entire 2026, the smart Capricorn way. Not flipping the whole chessboard, just changing how you play. You'll know what to keep, what to drop, and what to redesign so you can rise and still be alive. Capricorn, if chunk 1 was you pressing, update OS, then chunk 2 is when you start hard turning. But Capricorn doesn't hard turn like a hothead. Throw everything away and run. Capricorn, hard turns with a brain. Check the map, read the terrain, calculate the fuel, then change direction. Hard turning without panicking yourself. Hard turning while staying solid. And yes, 2026 is a hard turn year. Not because you're weak or wrong, but because you've outgrown an older version of yourself. Some things you used to tolerate, you don't want to tolerate anymore. Some work styles you used to brace through, your body won't allow anymore. Some relationships you used to push through, your heart doesn't want to push anymore. That's not falling off. That's maturity. Capricorn's first hard turn of 2026 is hard turning away from carrying alone. I know you've heard it before, but this year, it's the real exam. You can be good, durable, reliable, but if you keep holding everything, you turn yourself into a bottleneck. Everything depends on you. And when everything depends on you, you look important on the outside, but you're exhausted on the inside. This year, you must hard turn from a do it so it's done to a design it so it runs. What does design it so it runs mean? It means you don't do tasks. You build process. You standardize the way. You set rules. You write guidelines. You delegate. You create checklists. You make it so, if you rest for a day, the world doesn't collapse. This is a very Capricorn hard turn. Instead of proving with brute force, you prove with systems. And this will upgrade your career massively, because people start seeing you're not just good at doing, you're good at operating. The second hard turn is hard turning away from right, but not happy. Capricorn gets trapped in a loop. If it's right, do it. If it's logical, choose it. If it's safe, keep it. But sometimes that right drains you. It makes you live like someone completing missions, not someone living. In 2026, you'll be forced to ask, right for who? For me? Or for other people's expectations? And that question is hard, because Capricorn has lived with expectations for so long. Expectations from family, from bosses, from society, from yourself. You set the bar very high. You pressure yourself to be okay. And you think that's who you are. But no, that's a habit. The OS already updated, so now you hard turn away from the habit of self-pressure. The third hard turn is hard turning away from waiting until everything is done before resting. This is the hard turn that, if you can do it, will make your 2026 instantly lighter. Capricorn runs on done first, breathe later, but done is never fully done. So the hard turn is resting by schedule. You build recovery rhythm as part of the plan, not as a reward. You work steadily and you rest steadily. You put battery into the calendar, instead of waiting until you hit 1% and then charging. And this hard turn isn't only about health. It directly affects decision quality. When you're depleted, you decide badly. You snap faster, rush faster, react instead of respond. You say, ugh, just to finish, then carry the consequences. So resting at the right time is intelligence, not laziness. Now I'm going to the most important hard turn of Capricorn 2026, hard turning away from fear. Capricorn's fear doesn't show up like panic. It shows up like being too serious. Too tight control. Too much backup planning. No permission to be wrong. No permission to be weak. No permission to fail. And you call that responsibility. But underneath is fear. 2026 will bring you to one clear state. If you keep living from fear, you'll be tired. And you'll start hard turning toward living from trust. Trust here isn't blind trust. Trust is, I can handle it when things shift. I don't need to pre-control everything to be okay. I can be flexible. I can hard turn. I can rebuild. And the moment you believe that, you get lighter. Hard turning sounds good, but Capricorn will ask, okay, how do I hard turn, specifically? I'll make it specific. There's a framework that fits Capricorn 2026 perfectly, called 2 tracks running in parallel. Track 1 is your current track, job responsibility, main goals. Track 2 is your choice builder, A new skill, a new portfolio, a small side project, a new network, a new health habit. Track 2 isn't for quitting track 1. Track 2 is so you don't get trapped. Because Capricorn gets stressed the most when there are no options. When you have options, you're confident, you negotiate better, you don't fear being forced. In 2026, Capricorn hard turns best when you build track 2 small but consistent. Example, 2 upskill sessions a week. 1 case study a month. Each quarter, build 1 small asset, a template, a guideline, a tool, or something that can scale. Don't do it explosively then quit. Capricorn wins through consistency. You do it consistently, you win. Now I want you to recognize the hard turn signals in the year. There are 3 main signals. Signal 1, your body. You start sleeping worse. Neck-shoulder tension, eye strain, constant tightness. That's the body saying, the old running style isn't working anymore. Signal 2, your emotions. You get bored faster, irritated faster, things start feeling meaningless. That's emotions saying, you're living right, but it doesn't fit anymore. Signal 3, your environment. Plans change constantly. People change their minds, you get pulled into drama, you keep getting more work with no recognition. That's environment saying, you need to hard turn how you operate and how you communicate. When you see the signals, don't panic. Don't blame yourself. Do one thing, pause for 1 beat and ask, where do I need to hard turn? In schedule, boundaries, process, relationships, or goals. And to make chunk 2 actionable, I'll give you a fast exercise called 3 Things to Stop for 30 days. You pick. 1 thing to stop at work, a useless meeting, a pointless extra task, a habit of taking work with no scope. 1 thing to stop in habits, late nights, overtime, mindless scrolling. 1 thing to stop in relationships, people-pleasing, silent endurance, letting others cross your boundaries. Just 3. No big dramatic moves. But if you do these 3 things, you'll feel lighter, and the new OS will start running correctly. And I'll end chunk 2 with 1 sharp line. Capricorn's 2026, hard turn isn't to abandon goals. You hard turn so you still hit your goals, without losing yourself. You can still build something big. But this time you build with strategy, not with pain. Okay, in chunk 3, I'll take you into the communication system. Because if you hard turn but don't communicate right, you'll still get dragged back into the old loop. Chunk 3 will show you how to speak clearly, set boundaries, and package your value so you're recognized correctly, paid correctly, and you don't keep absorbing invisible work anymore. Capricorn, chunk 3 is where we talk about something that sounds soft, but is actually your strongest weapon in 2026. And communication here isn't about talking a lot, being slick, or talking for fun. Communication here is about being clear. Clear, so you don't get pulled back into the old loop. Clear so people understand your value. Clear so you don't have to carry in silence. Clear so you're recognized correctly, paid correctly, and living correctly. Capricorn tends to carry a very classic belief: do well, and people will naturally see it. But life doesn't run like that. Life runs like this: the people who say it clearly are understood. The people who don't say it get understood in whatever way is convenient for others. And in 2026, you'll see the cost of not speaking. You do more, but no one knows what you did. You carry extra, but people think it's normal. You endure, but people assume you're fine. Then you get tired, bitter, and feel unappreciated. So 2026 is the year Capricorn upgrades an important system: your communication system. I'll break it into 3 layers: simple, boundary communication, value communication, and emotional communication. If you get these 3 right, your 2026 becomes incredibly lighter. Layer 1, boundary communication. Boundaries are something Capricorn often lacks. Not because you don't know them, but because you hesitate. You fear people will think you're difficult. You fear saying no will disappoint them. You fear asking for things will be judged. So you choose silence and just get it done. But that just get it done is expensive. It costs time, health, and your joy. Boundaries at work are very concrete. They live in scope, timeline, priorities, and resources. Example: when you receive a task, you don't just say, "Ok," you ask, "What's the objective? What's the scope? What's the definition of done? Is the deadline real or fake? And do we have support?" You ask not because you're weak. You ask because you're professional. And professionalism is not letting a project stay vague. One polite but firm boundary mantra is, to ensure quality, I need to clarify. Soft sound, hard structure. People naturally respect it. Another boundary is time boundaries. Capricorn's time gets eaten. Everyone messages, everyone calls, everyone drags you into urgency. And because you're responsible, you respond instantly. But in 2026, you must train yourself to respond on schedule. Not cold, energy management. You can say, "I'll respond in this time block," or "I'll update before 5 p.m. Just that already saves you from being pulled around. Layer 2, value communication. This is what upgrades Capricorn the fastest. Value communication isn't bragging. It's packaging achievements. Because you do complex things, and if you don't package them, others won't get it. They just see you're busy. They don't see your impact. Let me say it clearly. Being busy isn't value. Impact is value. So you shift from, "I did this and that," to, "I produced this outcome." You can use a very simple formula. Work, impact, next step, data. Example: this week I optimized process A, reduced handling time by 30%. Next week I'll standardize it so the team can reuse it. Instantly you sound like a different level. Another formula, great for negotiation, is impact, level, ask. Impact, what you created. Level, the level you're operating at, equivalent role. Ask, what condition you're proposing, scope, decision rights, salary, bonus, resources. Capricorn often avoids the ask, but 2026 forces you to learn it. If you don't ask, people don't automatically give. Not because they're bad, because everyone is busy, everyone follows their interest. You protect yours by stating it clearly. And there's a very Capricorn way to communicate value without being flashy. Recap, dole. After a meeting, you recap in a few lines. Goal, decisions, who does what, deadline. You clarify, and you stamp yourself as the operator. People start seeing you as a leader. You don't say, "I'm a leader." You act like one. Layer 3, emotional communication. This is the layer Capricorn ignores the most. And that's why you get the most tired. Because Capricorn's habit is, emotions later. I'm fine. I'll handle it. I don't want to burden anyone. But emotions don't disappear when you ignore them. They turn into tight shoulders, insomnia, irritability, or numbness. In 2026, you need one simple practice. Tell the truth in a normal way. No drama. No dumping. Just, "I've been a bit overloaded lately," or "I need more time to ensure quality," or "I'm not doing great, I need a pause." Those sentences don't make you weak. They make you human. And the magic is, the right people respect you more. The wrong people reveal themselves. You filter your environment, your relationships, and your lifestyle. Now, Capricorn's communication trap in 2026. Silence, then self-suffering. You think silence equals maturity. But silence can also be abandoning yourself. If you don't say it, people don't know. If people don't know, they do what's convenient for them. And you carry again. This loop ends only when you speak. So remember this, being clear doesn't lower your value. Being clear earns you respect. Boundaries don't make you difficult. Boundaries keep you alive. And communication isn't to win against others. Communication is to win against your old loop. Okay, a mini exercise for chunk 3, usable in meetings or emails, 4 sentences. Sentence 1. The current situation is. Sentence 2. The impact risk is. Sentence 3. To ensure quality, I propose. Sentence 4. I'll update again by. That's it. You're communicating like a systems operator, not like someone chasing tasks. And I'll close chunk 3 with this. Capricorn gets paid correctly in 2026 when you dare to be clear. You don't need to become a smooth talker. You just need to become someone who speaks correctly. Right point, right boundary, right value, right need. Okay, chunk 4 takes you into attraction relationships. Because when you communicate right, your relationships automatically change. You'll attract people who respect you, and you'll stop staying in places where you have to brace. Chunk 4 is about love shifting, how Capricorn loves more maturely, and how you stay yourself in a relationship while still being warm, deep, and real. Hi. Capricorn, chunk 4 is where we talk about your attraction system and relationship system in 2026. Attraction sounds TikTok-ish, but here it doesn't mean you have to act cute, flirt, or become someone else. Capricorn's attraction is very specific. It's your presence, steady, trustworthy, purposeful, deep. The problem is, sometimes you're so steady you become a wall, and people don't know how to enter. And 2026 is the year you learn to be steady and open. Boundaries and warmth. Your relationships in 2026 will shift in a very clear direction. You'll stop attracting people who like you because you can carry things, and you'll start attracting people who respect you because you are you. And that shift doesn't magically happen. It happens when you've done chunk 1, 2, 3 right. New OS, hard turn away from bracing, and clear communication. When you state value and boundaries, the wrong people drift. The right people stay. I'll say it straight. Capricorn often falls into a familiar relationship pattern. You become the carrier. You carry emotions, responsibilities, the future. You call it love. But it's overload. And 2026 forces you to move from loving by carrying to loving by building together. Building together means both people have responsibility, both show up, both do the work, both grow. You're not your partner's parent. You're not a support system for someone else's life. You're a partner. Here's the love shifting of Capricorn 2026 very clearly. If you're in a relationship, 2026 feels like a reality check year. Questions you used to slide past will come back and demand answers. Do you share a direction? How do you handle money? How do you build a future? How do you handle conflict? Capricorn hates vagueness, but sometimes you still tolerate vagueness because you don't want to hurt someone. You choose silence, endurance. Let's leave it. But 2026 doesn't allow leave it anymore. It forces clarity. And clarity goes in 2 directions. Direction 1. Upgrade. You sit down, talk honestly, set shared rules. Like installing the same OS for the relationship. Boundaries, plans, presence. Upgrade doesn't mean immediate marriage or grand gestures. Upgrade means you understand each other more, commitment is clearer, and most importantly, you stop guessing. You know where you stand in their life. Direction 2. Release. Not a dramatic release, a Capricorn release, clean, clear, done. Some relationships don't break because someone is bad. They break because they don't fit. Different direction, different rhythm. One wants to build, one wants to escape. One wants to grow up, one wants to be soothed forever. And Capricorn, 2026 teaches you. Love can't run if only one person braces. If you're single, 2026 isn't the year where your soulmate walks out of a drama scene. 2026 is the year you filter standards and raise your presence. You'll be less pulled by people who talk well, create intense feelings, make you flutter. You'll be attracted to people with stable lives, responsibility for themselves, and who make you feel peaceful. Why? Because Capricorn single for a long time isn't lonely in a need someone way. You're lonely in a no one understands the weight I carry way. So you don't need someone to lean on. You need someone you can relax around. That's the right standard. And here's something interesting. When you start relaxing, you become more attractive. Capricorn relaxed is magnetic. Your vibe stops being "don't touch me, I'm busy surviving." It becomes "I'm solid, but I'm warm." People want to approach you, not just respect you from a distance. In 2026, your attraction system also involves your environment. Capricorn can tolerate toxic environments longer than most because you think, "I can handle it." But handling it isn't living. In 2026, you'll be more sensitive. You'll see clearly who drains your battery and who charges it. You'll naturally choose kind people, real people, deep people. You'll step away from drama, pointless conversations, and people who only like you when you're useful. This is a huge Capricorn maturity. You no longer need everyone to like you. You only need the right people to respect you. And when you live like that, your attraction becomes high class. You attract because you know who you are. Now, communication in relationships, because it's tied deeply to attraction. Capricorn loves through action, caring, supporting, solving problems. But you rarely say emotions. You assume people should understand, but they don't. And 2026 is the year you learn to speak needs in a normal way. You don't have to be cheesy. You just have to be clear. I need presence. I need you to keep your word. I need respect. These sentences create safety. Mature people like this clarity. They trust you more. They know you don't play guessing games. They know you can build. Another part of relationships is your network and friends. Capricorn is independent, but too independent becomes isolation. 2026 is a year to build soft connection, a mentor, a community, a small group with the same frequency. Not many, just real. Because real connection helps you stop bracing. It gives you a place to breathe. Okay, a mini exercise to reset your attraction system. Write 3 new standards for love and relationships in 2026. Standards that match the new OS, not old, BB perfect standards. Example: in someone who respects boundaries, someone consistent between words and actions, someone who makes you feel light when you're with them. Just 3. Don't overdo it, but make them real. Then write 1 thing you won't accept anymore. Just 1. Ambiguity, broken promises, emotional dismissal, or only showing up when they need something. Pick 1. That's your boundary. I'll close chunk 4 with this. Capricorn is most attractive in 2026 when you stop bracing to be loved. You don't need to prove worth by enduring. You're worthy when you choose what fits you. And when you live like that, you naturally meet the right people, the right friends, the right relationships. Okay, chunk 5 is the career decisions and pricing yourself system. From relationships, we pull into work. How you choose the right role, the right power, the right money, and how you don't fall back into the loop of too good, so you carry everything again. 1. Capricorn, chunk 5 is the sharpest part for many of you. Your career decision system. And let me say this first, 2026 has a very clear door for you to rise. But it won't rise like you get loved and gifted. It rises like you've accumulated enough points, strength, consistency, and now life starts paying out. But with that payout comes a slightly annoying exam. Do you dare to take a bigger role, or do you stay in the old role because it's familiar and safe? Capricorn falls into a very specific trap. You can do more than your role. You operate at a level above your title. You carry more than you're paid for. But because you're used to doing, you don't say it. You think, "I'll do well, and naturally, it'll be seen." And yes, it's seen, but often like, "Oh, this person can carry." Give them more. The part about paying more, granting more authority, doesn't happen automatically if you don't lock it in. So, in 2026, Capricorn's career decision system revolves around 3 words: role, power, money. Every decision needs to pass through these 3 gates. Gate 1, role deal. Are you the doer or the owner? Are you running tasks or designing systems? Are you supporting or carrying the main responsibility? 2026 is the year you step from the strong executor into the one who leads the way. You don't have to become a huge boss overnight. But at minimum, you become the person who defines how it's done. The person who sets the standard. The person who makes chaos run. Capricorn is built for this. You have structure, thinking, discipline, responsibility. But to step into the new role, you must break one habit: doing everything. Doing everything doesn't upgrade your role. Doing everything traps you as the carrier. Upgrading role means you learn to delegate, set rules, review, and say, "This doesn't need me." Gate 2. Power. Power here isn't drama power. It's decision power. Power to lock scope. Power to say, "This is the priority." Power to say, "We need more resources." Power to say, "No" when necessary. If you have responsibility without power, you'll suffer. You'll get pulled. You'll get squeezed on timelines. You'll get handed more without a voice. And Capricorn, 2026, will force you to learn one key sentence: responsibility must come with power. If not, you're being sold cheap, plainly. And you don't need aggression to claim power. You just say clearly, like in Chunk 3, "To ensure the outcome, I need decision rights on this part." That's it. Gate 3. Money. Dodge. Money is what Capricorn avoids talking about the most. But what you need to talk about the most in 2026. Not because you're greedy, because you're on the right trajectory. You're making impact. You're operating at a higher level. You deserve the correct price. In 2026, the question isn't, "Can I earn money?" The question is, "Am I being paid correctly?" And this question will show up often, especially when you get busier, carry more, and people trust you more. If trust goes up but compensation doesn't, that's a sign you need to lock it in. Now, Capricorn's gold opportunities in 2026 typically come in 3 forms. Form 1, being assigned a big project or a critical area. This is your chance to prove you can operate at a higher level. But the test is, do you do it the old way or the new way? If you accept and then carry everything, you burn out. If you accept and then design systems, delegate, set rules, you rise sustainably. Form 2, being offered a new role or being invited into the decision room. This is where you need to step up. Don't tell yourself, "I'm not ready." No one is 100% ready. People rise when they're 60% ready and willing to learn while doing. Capricorn learns fast once you're in the arena. You just need to dare. Form 3, you realize your current environment can't grow you enough anymore. This is where you consider changing environments or roles. But Capricorn changes strategically, not impulsively. Not just to escape exhaustion. You change to upgrade. If you're stuck between stay or go, here's a very Capricorn way to think. Ask 2 questions. Question 1. Here, can I increase power? If you can increase power, role, impact, with a clear roadmap, staying might be worth it. But it needs concrete conditions, not vague hope. Question 2. Here, can I increase price? Price means both money and recognition. If you keep doing more, but you stay in place, you're stuck. And stuck for too long turns into numbness. Another Capricorn trap, staying too long because you're loyal. You fear leaving midway. You fear people will say you're not consistent. But consistency isn't staying forever. Consistency is moving in the right direction long term. And sometimes to be consistent, you have to change. 2026 also reminds you about leverage. Capricorn earns sustainably when you have leverage, not when you add more hours. There are 2 types of leverage: skill leverage and relationship leverage. Skill leverage is your skill set, portfolio, case studies. Things that make people instantly understand your value. Relationship leverage is your network, mentors, referrals, people who trust you. Capricorn tends to think, "I just need to be good." But 2026 will show you. Skill gets you into the room, relationships get you a seat. Not playing dirty, this is life. Capricorn doesn't need to do anything extreme. You just build real decent connections with the right people. Okay, very practical exercise. 3 numbers for Capricorn 2026. Write them down. Number 1. The income level you want to reach in 2026. Number 2. The emergency fund that lets you sleep peacefully. Number 3. A living fund so you don't turn into a machine. 3 numbers sound simple, but they make you clear. And a clear Capricorn makes the right decisions naturally. And remember one golden principle. If you want more money, you need more power. Yes, you can raise money by switching jobs. But if you increase power where you are, you can raise money too. So don't only stare at salary. Look at role and power, because role and power define your ceiling. I'll close chunk 5 with a strong line. 2026 doesn't ask if you're good. It asks if you dare to admit you're worth it. You don't prove by carrying more. You prove by locking the right deal, the right role, the right power, the right money. And when you lock that, you'll feel something very satisfying. You rise, and you feel lighter. Okay, chunk 6 is the 4-season action map. I'll timeline the year, what to do in Q1, what to lock in Q2, how to protect energy in Q3, how to harvest in Q4. And I'll thread in the early year strong date windows, so you have a clear starting point. You'll listen and immediately know how to move beautifully. Capricorn, chunk 6 is where I give you what you love most. A 4-season action map for your whole 2026. The kind you listen to once and your brain has a clear roadmap. When to push, when to hold, when to lock decisions, and when to rest so you don't break. Before we go Q1 and Q4, here's the theme line again as your compass. 2026 doesn't make you run faster. It makes you run smarter. And smarter means right priorities, right rhythm, right boundaries, right decisions. All right, Q1, January, March, the season of locking priorities, opening the new OS, pressing start. Q2 is when you set up the system for the year. When Capricorn sets up Q1 well, Q2, Q3, Q4 run smoother by default. So Q1 isn't a blast and grind season. Q1 is a cleanup and lock-in season. In Q1, there's a gold window I want you to remember as a perfect starting point, 118 and 120. This energy helps you hold discipline and creativity together, steady and willing to innovate. Use these days to lock one of 3 things. Lock your yearly goal, lock your work boundaries, or lock a health habit. Lock it the Capricorn way, clear, measurable, with rhythm. Very practical examples. Lock the year's core setting, health, peace in your mind, love, or career. Just one. Lock 1 work rule, fixed rest time, no after-hours replies unless urgent, or always clarify scope before accepting tasks. Lock 1 recovery habit, 20-minute walk 4 times a week, sleep before 12, or 10 minutes stretching nightly. Q1 is also a filtering season. Filter unnecessary work, filter draining relationships, filter battery-burning habits. You don't need a big move. Cut 10-20% of the excess and you'll instantly feel lighter. And lightness is the base for breakthrough. Q1 in one line, Q1 is foundation, don't rush. The clearer you are, the faster you move later. Now, Q2. Q2, April, June. The season of career momentum. Opportunities start knocking. Q2 is when career starts speaking. You're more likely to be given key tasks, pulled into big projects, seen as the one who can carry. And yes, you can carry. But Q2's test is, do you carry in the old way or the new way? Old way, carry everything. New way, design the system. You accept big work, but you clarify scope, timeline, resources. You delegate. You standardize. You package your value. You recap and update on outcomes. You stop letting your effort disappear in silence. Guide 2 is also the lock power, season. Remember chunk 5, role, power, money toy. In Q2, lock at least one decision rights in the part you own, better working conditions, or a salary bonus negotiation. You don't need drama. You need data, what level you're operating at, what impact you created, what you propose to ensure outcomes. If you're considering switching environments, Q2 is for research and preparation. Update your CV, collect case studies, talk to a mentor, expand your network. You don't have to jump yet, but you need options. Options make Capricorn strong. Q2, in one line. Q2 is acceleration. But intelligent acceleration. Don't accelerate by sacrificing battery. Now, Q3, July-September. The season of slowing to optimize, protect endurance, avoid wearing out ton. Q3 is when many Capricorns feel, wait, why am I tired? And I'll say it up front, normal. Q3 often forces review or trial. Plans may shift, progress may slow, or you'll have to revisit things you thought were done. Capricorn hates that because it feels like losing control. But Q3 isn't here to break you. Q3 is here to optimize. It's like building a system. Midway you refactor, or it crashes at the end of the year. So Q3 is the season of 3 tasks. 1. Optimize processes. Cut what wastes time, standardize what repeats, automate what can be automated. 2. Keep recovery rhythm. Sleep, movement, rest by schedule. Don't wait for burnout. 3. Audit boundaries. Are you taking too much? Getting dragged into drama? Saying, "Ugh, just to finish?" In relationships, Q3 can also be more sensitive emotionally. When you're tired, you go quiet. But Capricorn's silence becomes distance. If you're in a relationship, Q3 is when you say, "I've been overloaded lately. I need you to understand and be close." That alone keeps warmth. If you're single, Q3 is when your standards become clearer and you need less drama. Well, Q3 isn't for fireworks. Q3 is endurance. Endure well, so Q4 closes beautifully. Now, Q4, Tarsher. Q4, October, December, the season of closing, harvesting, big decisions. Q4 is Capricorn season, your natural vibe. This is when you close projects, close deals, lock roles, lock direction. After Q3 refactoring and recovery, Q4 feels like the final straight road to the finish line. In career, Q4 often brings a close, official recognition, a new role proposal, or a major decision you lock, stay and gain power, or leave and increase level. The best part, if you did QQ right, you won't decide in confusion. You'll decide like Capricorn, clear, solid, planned. In love, Q4 is also when the relationship gets defined. If it fits, it upgrades. If it doesn't, you won't keep stretching it with silence. And that close doesn't make you lose anything. It makes you lighter. It makes you real. But Q4 has a trap. You can pile all your energy into closing everything and burn out at year end. So remember the OS rule, rest by schedule. Don't wait until everything is done to rest. You can close beautifully and still have energy to enjoy it. Q4 in one line. Q4 is harvest, but don't harvest by destroying yourself. Now I'll compress this into a 4-season mantra you can remember instantly. Koane, clean, lock, set up. Q, take opportunity, lock power, package value. Q3, optimize, protect battery, refactor life. Q4, close, harvest, big decision. And here's the final line of the whole 6-system journey that I want you to keep close. Capricorn 2026 is still a year you build something big. But this time you build with breathing room. You're still ambitious, but you don't grind yourself down. You're still strong, but not alone. You're still steady, but you don't brace just to prove you're worthy. If you want to start right now, here's one small action that's perfect today. Write down 3 things you'll stop in the next 30 days, and one priority for the year. That's your start button. Everything else you'll do step by step, steady and consistent, and you'll reach the finish line the Capricorn way, solid, sustainable, and beautiful. If you want, I can write two 60-second shorts from these 6 systems, hard hook in the first 3 seconds, an NDDA that pulls viewers back to YouTube Horodaily exactly in the format you're using.